I also want to give a couple of examples of how you can create a cinematic sequence, since it's more than likely you'll want more than one dialog box popping up at a time, and you'll want to use all these neat new features like the different movie cameras. So what you see is actually two different ways to do it. The microchip over here is actually player controlled, and then this is a movie sequencer. So the movie sequencer isn't hooked up for obvious reasons. I don't want them both to run, but I can show you what that looks like by starting it in the editor here. So when I start this, you'll see what happens, and then I'll explain what's going on behind the scenes. So you can see it switched both dialogue and camera angles. What I've done here is I've set it so this one single block runs for 8 seconds, and then as the block starts, it activates the first dialog box as well as a behavior that I've acted out and the movie camera all at once. The problem that I have with this, if you add a space, it'll cut out the dialogue, and then this is what that looks like. See, it cuts off for a second and it's disjointed, so you have to have every single piece touching, or you have to have them activated in a different way, which is the other way over here, which I'll show you about in a second. So I have it so all of these activate for about 4 seconds each, since this whole block right here is 8 seconds, and then you'll see part of the next block. Each block is 8 seconds, and you can change that to whatever you want. You can also have this sequencer activate a different sequencer if you want the next dialogue to be a little bit longer, or it can get a little confusing, but this is the only way I've found to do it. So to make the SACbots act out something, all you have to do is add a behavior trigger in here, set the behavior to act, and then you go down to record. It'll say 3, 2, 1, and then you act it out like, hey, how's it going? And then you hit circle. And that's all you got to do. Then it records that behavior. So then the sequencer will run through and act out each behavior that you choose. With this dialogue tree that I've set up, I have the normal triggers activating it. So here's the tag sensor. That'll sense the SACbot, and it'll start all 3 of these at once. Both the hello, the acting out, and the camera. And then when the player skips this, I'm going to make sure that skippable is set to yes for all of these. That's very important. When the player activates this one and they skip out to the next one, it'll activate all of the next ones. To explain how the animation sequences work, there's the playback mode here. It shows loop absolute, which is what you just saw. It repeats the animation over and over again. And then there's play once, where if you have the character doing something like jumping or running, then you'll probably only want to have it play once. And then loop relative is it's similar to the loop absolute, but I'm not quite sure of what the difference is. I'll have to check up on that. Alright, so here's our little character in action. You walk up to him, he does his animation. You can actually change that so it doesn't repeat over and over again. Then you hit circle and it'll go to the next sequence, and it'll do this for as long as the player wants. So if you have really long dialogues, this is perfect for that. It'll give the player enough time to read it at their own pace. And then you hit circle again and it goes to our idle animation with the regular static camera. And that's it.